According to the National Electrical Code, custom-built equipment may be exempt from underwriters' laboratories listing if it meets specific requirements. Consult NEC Article 110.3b. Equipment produced in limited quantities, specifically less than 100 units, may also be exempt from underwriters' laboratories listing. Refer to NEC Article 110.3c. Equipment tested and certified by recognized testing laboratories, such as Electrical Testing Labs or Canadian Standards Association, may be exempt from underwriters' laboratories listing as well. See NEC Article 110.3a. The local electrical inspector has the final authority to determine if the equipment meets code requirements. American National Standards Institute/American Society of Mechanical Engineers new S3.1-2019 is a standard for industrial air compressors, which may provide guidance on safety requirements. The equipment manufacturer should be able to provide documentation demonstrating compliance with relevant codes and standards. It is recommended to contact the equipment manufacturer to obtain documentation supporting their claim of exemption. Review the documentation with the local electrical inspector and provide any additional information they request. If necessary, consider obtaining an evaluation from a recognized testing laboratory to confirm compliance. NEC Article 110.3 provides exemptions from underwriters' laboratories listing for certain types of equipment. American National Standards Institute/American Society of Mechanical Engineers new S3.1-2019 Section 14 covers safety requirements for industrial air compressors. Underwriters Laboratories is a recognized testing laboratory that certifies products to meet specific safety standards. When addressing the situation where a 10 horsepower air compressor installed in a fire department lacks underwriter's laboratory sticker and is holding up the final inspection, there are several avenues to explore regarding potential exemptions and compliance pathways. Firstly, it's essential to understand that the absence of underwriter's laboratories listing doesn't automatically mean the equipment is non-compliant. The National Electrical Code, specifically Article 110.3, provides certain exceptions and considerations for equipment that may not have an underwriter's laboratories label. One possible exemption, as outlined in NEC Article 110.3b, pertains to custom-built equipment. If the air compressor was indeed custom-built to meet specific requirements and isn't a mass-produced, off-the-shelf unit, it might fall under this exemption. However, it's crucial to note that custom-built equipment still needs to adhere to relevant safety standards and codes. The exemption from underwriters' laboratories listing doesn't negate the requirement for safe and code-compliant installation and operation. Secondly, NEC Article 110.3c addresses equipment produced in limited quantities, typically less than 100 units. If the air compressor in question falls into this category, it may also be exempt from the underwriter's laboratories listing requirement. Again, this doesn't imply a free pass from safety standards. Rather, it acknowledges that low-volume production may not warrant the extensive testing and listing processes associated with mass-produced items. Thirdly, equipment tested and certified by other recognized testing laboratories, such as Electrical Testing Labs or Canadian Standards Association, as mentioned in NEC Article 110.3a, can also be considered compliant. These laboratories perform similar testing and certification functions as underwriters' laboratories, and their marks are often recognized and accepted by electrical inspectors. In this case, it would be important to verify that the testing laboratory is indeed recognized by the local jurisdiction and that the air compressor meets the applicable safety standards. The local electrical inspector or authority having jurisdiction plays a crucial role in determining whether the air compressor meets code requirements. The inspector has the final say in interpreting the code and ensuring that the installation is safe and compliant. It's essential to work collaboratively with the inspector, providing all necessary documentation and addressing any concerns they may have. To support the claim of exemption, the manufacturer of the air compressor should provide comprehensive documentation demonstrating compliance with relevant codes and standards. This documentation might include design specifications, testing reports, and certifications from recognized testing laboratories. The documentation should clearly outline how the air compressor meets or exceeds the safety requirements outlined in the NEC and other applicable standards. Furthermore, American National Standards Institute/American Society of Mechanical Engineers new US 3.1-2019 serves as the standard for industrial air compressors and offers valuable guidance on safety requirements. This standard covers various aspects of air compressor design, construction, and operation, including safety devices, pressure relief mechanisms, and electrical components. Consulting this standard can help ensure that the air compressor meets industry-recognized safety practices. In situations where the underwriter's laboratories listing is absent and the electrical inspector remains unconvinced, obtaining an independent evaluation from a recognized testing laboratory can be a worthwhile investment. This evaluation would involve a thorough inspection and testing of the air compressor to verify its compliance with relevant safety standards. The testing laboratory would then provide a report outlining their findings and certifying whether the equipment meets the required safety criteria. When communicating with the electrical inspector, it's important to maintain a professional and respectful demeanor. Clearly explain the basis for the exemption claim, providing all supporting documentation and addressing any concerns the inspector may raise. Be prepared to answer questions about the air compressor's design, construction, and safety features. If necessary, involve the manufacturer or a qualified engineer to provide technical expertise and clarify any ambiguities. In some cases, the electrical inspector may require additional safety measures or modifications to the air compressor installation to ensure compliance. Be open to these suggestions and work collaboratively to implement the necessary changes. This might involve adding additional safety devices, upgrading electrical components, or modifying the installation to meet specific code requirements. It's also important to remember that the electrical code is constantly evolving and interpretations may vary depending on the local jurisdiction. Staying up to date on the latest code changes and consulting with experienced electrical professionals can help navigate complex compliance issues. Finally, documenting all communication and actions taken throughout the process is crucial. Keep records of all correspondence with the manufacturer, the electrical inspector, and any testing laboratories involved. This documentation can serve as evidence of due diligence and can be helpful in resolving any disputes or misunderstandings. To recap, when faced with an air compressor lacking underwriter's laboratory sticker, explore the potential exemptions outlined in NEC Article 110.3, focusing on custom-built equipment, limited production quantities, and certifications from recognized testing laboratories. Collaborate with the local electrical inspector, providing comprehensive documentation from the manufacturer and considering an independent evaluation if necessary. Adhere to the safety guidelines outlined in American National Standards Institute/American Society of Mechanical Engineers US 3.1-2019 and maintain open communication with all parties involved to achieve a safe and code-compliant installation. Remember that even if the exemption applies, the equipment must still meet all applicable safety standards and be installed in accordance with the NEC. The goal is to ensure the safety of the fire department personnel and the reliable operation of the air compressor.